Hello everybody and welcome to This Upbeat Life, the show where we take a light-hearted look at life and go on a journey to find out how people stay physically and mentally happy. I'm Simon JJ Green and I'll be interviewing ordinary, bog-standard people as well as looking at the latest in wellness, health science, nature and the quirkier side of the health and wellbeing industry. Now, let's get cracking with today's episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of This Upbeat Life. Now, ordinarily I have usually numbered the shows, but because I record 2 or 3 shows in advance, I sometimes swap them around in a different order to which they were recorded, depending on the relevancy of the topics. So from now on, you won't hear me say what number the show is, but it will be on the show notes. Make sense? Yeah, I didn't think so. So, on today's show, in quick news, would you believe it? Chewing wood may improve your memory and boost brain antioxidants. Stick with me on this one, get it? On The Real Deal, microplastic matters. Is it too late? And on Far Out Stuff, a cheesy question about the moon. And on quick news, a quirky new study from South Korea reports that chewing wood may improve memory and boost the antioxidants in your brain. Yep, nibbling on wood. Get your mind out of the gutter. Not chewing gum, not crayons, not your toenails, but small wooden sticks. You know, like lolly sticks or popsicle sticks for those in the US. Now, when I was a child, I used to regularly chew my finished ice lolly stick, but perhaps it was a different type of wood from the one in the study because I didn't pass my A-levels until I was 31. So the researchers recruited 52 healthy university students in South Korea and split them into 2 groups. One group chewed paraffin wax gum, which is a standard in chewing studies apparently, and the other group chewed wooden sticks. Before and after chewing, the participants underwent an MRS brain scan, and they also made the participants take a cognitive test, a battery covering memory, attention, language, spatial stuff and so on, both before and after the chewing session. After 5 minutes of chewing, the wood chewing group were tested and it was discovered that glutathione levels in the brain increased significantly compared to the baseline group who chewed just the wax gum. Now, if you're like me and you've got no idea what glutathione is, I looked it up so you don't have to. Basically, it's an antioxidant that is good for your brain matter. However, there were drawbacks to this study. The group that was tested were all young and healthy students. The chewing part of the test was only 5 minutes long and only one part of the brain was tested and measured. Added to that, the increase in glutathione effect could possibly be down to other factors such as texture, resistance or other mechanical stimulation, rather than just the woodiness of the wood, if you would. So, as a friendly PSA, if you find that grandma or granddad is starting to forget things, then passing them a 2x4 to chow down on may not necessarily work. If you fancy it yourself, go ahead. But you'll probably find that good sleep, exercise and mental stimulation and a decent nutrition will probably achieve the same thing. So I guess the one good thing is that I can now go out and buy ice lollies in the name of science. Hang on a minute. What about beavers? Could they be secret members of Mensa? And on The Real Deal today, we're going to be tackling a tiny subject that has a huge global impact: nano and microplastics. Now, you've almost certainly heard about microplastics, but you may be wondering what all the hoo-ha is about. Well, it appears there's quite a bit of a hoo to be hard. Microplastics are plastic fragments smaller than 5 millimeters. That's about the size of a sesame seed. Nanoplastics are even smaller, the microscopic sprinkles of the plastic world. Think glitter, but invisible, and less fun at parties. Actually, glitter is also a contributor to microplastic pollution, so don't use glitter. Now, these particles come from everyday things: packaging, synthetic clothing fibers, car tires, and the slow weathering of plastic waste. Now, as plastic degrades, either through weathering or daily use, it sheds microscopic plastic particles into our daily lives. And basically, wherever there's plastic, there will eventually be microplastic. Like an annoying relative, it will always find its way in. So where is this stuff? And the short answer is everywhere. They've been found in bottled water, tap water, beer, oh my god, beer? Seafood, table salt, indoor dust, and the air in cities. One study even found them in a human placenta, which is impressive, if also a bit alarming. Imagine a baby's first words being, "Mummy, Daddy, polyvinyl chloride." And yes, scientists have also detected them in blood, lung tissue and breast milk. So really, if you have a body, chances are you've got a scattering of plastic in it somewhere. And the bit we all want to know, are they dangerous? Well, here's the tricky part. Lab experiments and animal studies suggest they might be. Tiny plastics can cause inflammation, stress cells out, or act like little rafts for toxic chemicals. But does this mean that the microplastic in your morning cup of coffee is going to knock years off your life? Well, actually, boffins are not sure. The World Health Organization says, based on current evidence, the risk to human health appears low compared to other hazards. In other words, don't panic. But don't ignore it either. Like that analogy, your chances of being killed by a cow are low, but never zero. Perhaps think of microplastics like taxes, unpleasant and unavoidable. But there's more to this too. Nanoplastics are so small that they can cross biological barriers, even slipping into cells. Some lab studies show that they can alter metabolism or immune responses, and one recent experiment even found nanoplastics sneaking into edible plants. Yes, lettuce is now chewing on plastic too, and this is not an excuse to dodge salad, though I might mention it to my partner later and see if I can get away with it. Now, the problem is that although the microplastics have been around since the invention of plastic, which, believe it or not, was in 1862, we've not really discovered it as a health issue until the 1960s, and more formally until about 2004, when it was studied as a pollutant in marine life. Now, early forms of plastic gained some use in the early 20th century, but plastic became widely used and mass-produced in the 1930s, which led to a boom in disposable plastics in the late 50s. Now, ever since then, plastic has been used at literally every level of our lives. And once seen as a cheap and time-saving convenience, it now represents an estimated 75 to 199 million tonnes of plastic just in our oceans as of 2025. Now, this doesn't include the hundreds of thousands of tonnes of plastic in landfills. Now, this pollutant soup is a mix of larger items and tinier microplastics, with a significant amount also sinking to the ocean floor. So if no action is taken, the amount of plastic pollution could nearly triple by 2040. Nevertheless, while the World Health Organization says the current health risk is low, the science around this is actually still catching up. We don't know exactly how much plastic we ingest daily or what the long-term health effects are just yet. We do know that exposure is real and plausible mechanisms for harm exist, but evidence of direct human disease from typical exposures are not yet proven. This is one of those moments where scientists throw their hands up in the air and say, "More research, please." Actually, they need more cash as well. So what can we do? Well, good news. You don't have to start wearing a hazmat suit just yet. Some practical steps that can help are cutting down on single-use plastics. You know, things like plastic bottles, food wrappers, grocery bags, straws, cutlery, coffee cups, takeaway containers, cigarette butts, etc., none of which is biodegradable, and the planet will thank you. You can wash synthetic clothes less often, or use filters to catch fibres. You can keep dust down at home. Regular cleaning helps to reduce what you breathe in. Oh my goodness, my house is terrible. And you can try and support national and global policies to reduce plastic production and improve waste management and recycling. And importantly, resist the temptation to buy bottled water just because it looks or says it's pure. Studies show bottled water in plastic bottles can contain even more microplastics than tap water. So save your money and your kitchen cupboard space and drink tap water, unless you live in Flint in Michigan, so maybe not there. Personally, I analysed a week's worth of normal shopping, which included plastic-wrapped food, and I was shocked and frustrated to find that only 30% of the plastic was recyclable. The rest of it had to go into the general rubbish, or my nearest large supermarket, which isn't near. Yeah, so this is going to be the subject of another podcast. But what about all this stuff floating around in our bodies? Can we get rid of it? Well, a report says that Orlando Bloom of Pirates of the Caribbean fame has washed his blood. Mr. Bloom is said to have used a treatment similar to dialysis known as apheresis, a medical process in which blood is removed from the body, centrifuged or filtered to extract certain components, then returned in an attempt to flush out microplastics and other toxins. Ironically, a study has found that the plastics used in the medical machinery during apheresis may unwittingly be introducing more microplastics into the body than it's trying to clean. There's no escape. But there is some good news. a group of high schoolers from Utah's Hillcrest High School in Midvale have designed a prototype purifier that can effectively filter out microplastics from watercourses. The 6 teenagers, and I'm going to name check them here, apologies if I mispronounce anything, Sashwath Narayanan, Shreya and Swayam Sangivi, Kevin Siju Epan, and Samhith Vajayala have also managed to make the device portable, which could make a significant difference in getting the purifier to places it's needed the most. So, to wrap up, micro and nanoplastics are real. They're everywhere. And they've joined us in the 21st century, whether we like it or not. Now, are they going to kill us tomorrow? Almost certainly not. But, like robot uprisings, are they worth taking seriously? Darn tootin'. With plastics, the long-term effects on our health and the damage to the planet are still unfolding, and it's our children and their children that will inherit the answers. Yeah, and I'm not kidding about robot uprisings. It's downright scary what these things can do nowadays. And on far out stuff, things you didn't know you wanted to know until you knew you wanted to know them. Today's burning question, who owns the moon? And no, it's not Elon Musk, just yet. The moon, that glowing rock in the sky, has been hanging around for about 4.5 billion years, looking majestic, inspiring poetry and song, and occasionally causing werewolf-related mishaps. But who, if anyone, can slap a deed on it and say, it's mine? Well, technically no one. According to the wonderfully titled 1967 Outer Space Treaty, yes, that's a real thing, countries can't just claim celestial bodies, which is lucky really because it means the UK has missed its chance in the space race to plant a giant Union Jack next to the Sea of Tranquility and create yet another colony. But here's where it gets slightly odd. You can buy deeds to a plot of land on the moon. Yes, companies will happily sell you a novelty certificate declaring you the proud owner of a prime wedge of lunar real estate cheese for the nominal sum of between $10 to $40 an acre. Is it legally binding? No. Is it impressively frameable? Yep, indeedy. But one such lunar registration company has claimed to have sold over 500,000 of these plots. So someone somewhere is making cheese from people happy to part with their money for something they can't have. But not content to just sell out-of-reach real estate, they also offer you the option to name a lunar crater for between $100 to $250, depending on the size of the crater. Now, who would be gullible enough to buy this sort of stuff, you may ask? Well, that would be me. With no small amount of shame, I confess to having bought some lunar cheese quite a while ago in a misguided romantic attempt to woo my now ex-wife. I have also bought the option to name a star after one of my kids. You think I'd know better. And in hindsight, I think it makes me quite a twat. Much like buying stuff from Amazon, I've helped to make someone a millionaire/billionaire somewhere. Now, but imagine if the moon was owned. I mean, who would it be? Who would own it? America, perhaps, because they got there first. Or China, because they've already got a bunch of robots on the surface. Or what about Jeff Bezos? Because, let's be honest, he already looks like a supervillain plotting to install a moon-based Amazon warehouse. And that's not really a joke, is it? Or perhaps the moon belongs to all of us. Like the air that we breathe, you don't own it, but you use it. Personally, I think the moon should be owned by cheese manufacturers. I mean, the branding potential is huge. Made on the moon, literally. Brie that's out of this world. Lunar Stilton. And of course, Cheddar Eclipse, which only comes around once every 18 months. But in reality, the moon belongs to no one. And maybe that's for the best. After all, if humans did own it, we'd have huge advertising signs plastered across its surface by now. Imagine looking up at the night sky and instead of a glowing orb of mystery, you see a giant glowing McDonald's logo. Loving it? Not so much. But of course, this is all just a matter of time. So, until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your eyes on the sky, and unlike me, your hands deep in your pockets gripping your cash. All of this lunar business reminds me of the joke. Did you hear about the restaurant that opened on the moon? The food was out of this world, but it had no atmosphere. Yeah, I'll see myself out. And that's it for today. Thanks for listening, everybody. As always, I'd appreciate it if you could like, follow, and subscribe to my show, This Upbeat Life, so I know I'm on the right track. And even better, leave a review and share it with your friends. Until next time, remember, happiness is the best medicine. Cheerio.